Reminder that the Melanie plush is now out for you to buy if you'd like. The last day to get her is on September 19th, so snatch her up before she's gone. Hey everyone, I'm Fernanda, or you can just call me Chimmy. Lately, I've been falling down a rabbit hole. An Ever After High rabbit hole. I've been watching so many videos on it and have also been rewatching the webisodes, which has gotten me really obsessed with the show again. And so because of that, I thought why not try redesigning some of the characters. I do want to quickly point out though that although this is a redesign video, I'm not trying to say that their designs are ugly or anything. In fact, I'm actually a really big fan of them. Take this more as a challenge for me. Like if somebody came up to me and said, hey, give us your take on these characters. And it was definitely a challenge for me, but regardless, I was really excited to try it out. Before I get too into it though, I should explain what Ever After High is to those who may not know what it is. Ever After High is an animated series and doll line produced by Mattel following the children of fairy tale characters. In the show, the characters are destined to follow their parents' destinies, but Raven Queen, the daughter of the evil queen, doesn't want to be like her mother and instead wants to write her own destiny. Because of this, the school is split into two groups, the Royals and the Rebels. The Royals want to follow their predetermined destinies while the Rebels want to write their own paths. I would 100% recommend watching the show if you haven't, it's so good, I really wish they hadn't cancelled it. I've heard it's because of Disney's Descendants release, which had a similar concept, but I'm not too entirely sure about that. Either way, I'm a big fan of both franchises, so I can't be too upset. But now, it's time to start planning and brainstorming my ideas for these redesigns, so you know what that means. It's time to pull out today's lovely sponsor, Milano. I've used Milano multiple times for all sorts of projects and can confidently say it's such a useful tool. It's an online canvas which helps with all sorts of creative projects you may have. You can create mood boards, brainstorm ideas, write down notes, and you can even draw on your canvas, which is one of my favorite features since it allows me to quickly doodle ideas I have at the moment. There's so many different ways you can use Milano, and if you like ideas or help on your project, you can choose from Milano's wide variety of built-in templates which offers so many possibilities for all sorts of creative projects. They have templates for fashion, photography, storyboarding, you name it. But of course, you could also start from scratch and just have fun with it. For these designs in particular, I first created a board which had a subboard in it for each character I was redesigning to keep things nicely organized. You're able to customize each board icon you make, which I think is such a nice visual touch. I placed a bunch of pictures of outfits, shoes, and hairstyle ideas I had for the characters, as well as color palette ideas I wanted to try out. I found a lot of my visual ideas from Pinterest, and using my personal favorite Milano feature, was able to place down pictures with the link attached to it. It not only helps with my iPad storage since it doesn't require me to save the pictures to my camera roll, but it's also great in case I ever need to go back and find the original source of the pictures I have on my board. But pictures aren't the only thing you can attach links to. Since I mentioned falling into an Ever After High rabbit hole, I attached links to the characters' wiki pages and to their diary entries, which gave me more insight on the characters' personalities and goals. So with all of this new information easily accessible and organized, I'm able to share it with you guys throughout this video. It's so useful having everything all in one place so that I don't have to get lost with all sorts of different tabs I need open. Plus, I'm also not restricted by device. If I'm ever on the go and don't have access to my iPad, I can still easily access Milano through my phone and work on it whenever I please. I seriously can't recommend it enough, and if you're a regular to my channel, you definitely know that by now. Milano is free with no time limit, and so sign up for a free Milano account using the link in the description. Thank you so much to Milano for sponsoring this video, and now let's get into these redesigns. The first character I'm redesigning is the one and only Raven Queen. Like I mentioned earlier, she's the daughter of the evil queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. However, she's nothing like what she's expected to be. She's kind-hearted and doesn't want to be evil. She hates the thought of causing harm to others and instead wants to make the world a happier place. Therefore, she decides to not sign the Storybook of Legends, which makes her a rebel. The Storybook of Legends is a book which each character has to sign in order to seal their fate. She was hesitant to not sign the book because she was told by Headmaster Grimm that if she didn't sign that her and all the other students would go poof, aka they would vanish and their stories would cease to exist. She decides to risk it though after being told by Giles Grimm, Headmaster Grimm's brother, that she's free to write her own destiny. Raven's a character I really like and feel for. All she wants to do is be a good person but is constantly told that she doesn't have a say in it. In her diary, it says that she got into trouble anytime she would do something nice. And that as a kid, she used to be able to cast spells to make flowers burst into butterflies. That was until one day her magic started to backfire and instead would make the flowers burst into flames. Anytime she would try to use it for good, bad things would come out of it, which of course she was praised for even though it made her feel horrible. Luckily, she had her best friend Maddie, which we'll be getting into a bit further into the video, who was always kind to Raven and never expected her to be anyone or follow a specific role. She just saw her as Raven. I also didn't know this, which may sound kinda dumb, but Raven has a dad, the Good King, who apparently is very kind-hearted unlike her mother. How they got together? I have no clue. Well, I guess if they had to each follow their destinies, they were forced to, huh? I don't know, but if I remember correctly, I don't think he was ever mentioned in the show, so hearing about him was really interesting. When it came to my take on Raven's design, I took a lot of inspiration from gothic fashion. I know it's a lot of black, but just shows that I mix some purples and magentas in it as well. Just because Raven wants to be a good person, I don't think that means she shouldn't be allowed to dress in a more darker fashion. I wanted to give her a longer silhouette compared to the rest of the characters, and so I gave her a longer skirt instead of the short one she originally has. I was especially inspired by these two in particular since I love the ruffles they have. And you might have noticed already, but I didn't put any feathers in her design, which may confuse some people since her name is Raven like the bird. But you have to hear me out on this one. The evil queen also has feathers in her design, and since Raven has a pretty strained relationship with her mother, I feel like she wouldn't want to wear anything with feathers since it would remind her of the person she doesn't want to become. I don't know about you guys, but I felt pretty smart about that. I'm kidding, but I had so much fun when designing Raven and I'm so happy with how she turned out. But now let's move on to our secondary protagonist and the leader of the royals. Our next character is Apple White. As you can probably guess, she's the daughter of Snow White, aka the person Raven's destined to poison in the future. But unlike Raven, Apple's ecstatic to follow her destiny. She'll get her Prince Charming, become queen, who wouldn't want that? Apple's a character who's very divided within the fandom. There's people who love her and people who absolutely hate her. And I won't lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of hers either in the beginning. My opinions changed though. I mean, put yourself in her shoes. You're basically guaranteed an amazing life just by following in your parents' footsteps. And not only that, but a lot of people are quick to call Apple selfish, which to a certain extent I can understand since she does have her moments which don't make her look the best. But guys, at the end of the day, she's just a high school girl. She's not gonna be perfect, and of course, she's scared of what could happen if Raven doesn't sign the book. They were told they could disappear, so who wouldn't be scared? Plus, Raven not signing wouldn't only affect Apple, but it would also affect Raven herself and people like Daring Charming, who's believed to be Apple's prince. If Apple doesn't get poisoned, then who's he supposed to save? I mean, if you've seen the show, you know how things end for them, but my point still stands. Go easy on my girl, please. But now let me get into her design. I had a lot of ideas for her. Lots of classy and royal clothing, and of course, the use of reds. One thing I kept debating on though was on her hair color. Apple's original design has her blonde hair, which of course is so iconic to her. However, it said that Apple's actually really insecure about it since it isn't dark like all the other Snow Whites. In the tale, it stated that Snow White's hair should be dark like ebony, which Apple doesn't have. And so I had an idea that Apple would dye her hair black in order to be seen as the perfect Snow White. It's already stated that she needs the glasses but chooses not to wear them since she has to be perfect at everything, and so I thought dyeing her hair would be within her character. However, like I mentioned earlier, her blonde hair is just too iconic and without it, it didn't feel like her, so I felt so divided on it and I still am. I did both versions and want to get your guys' opinion on it. I actually ended up finding a picture of a younger Snow White from the Ever After High universe, and I think Apple trying to resemble her mom back when she was younger would be really interesting. But let me know, am I cooking with my reasons behind it, or is her blonde hair too iconic and I should leave it? I also didn't mention this, but Apple's actually Raven's roommate. It was originally supposed to be Maddie, but after getting caught skipping a school tour, she was removed from her position as head of the Royal Student Council. And so to get her position back, she was assigned by Headmaster Grimm to help Raven embrace her legacy. I was surprised to hear this since I just assumed being Raven's roommate was Apple's goal all along in order to get her to follow her destiny. So hearing that she was sort of assigned to Raven by Headmaster Grimm surprised me. To be fair, it wasn't like she was forced to room with her, it was Apple's decision, but she only did that thinking that she needs to save Raven. But now let's get into Raven's old roommate and best friend, Madeline Hatter. Or just Maddie, who's the daughter of the Mad Hatter. Maddie's a super optimistic and energetic girl. She sees the best in everyone and always wants to have a good time but can get serious when needed. She can even hear the show's narrators, which most other characters can't do. She's seen as wacky and, well, a bit mad, but to her that's a compliment. I was actually a bit confused on whether Maddie was a royal or a rebel, since to be a royal, you're happy to follow your destiny, which she does want to do. However, the more I was looking into it, she's definitely a rebel. She believes that people should be allowed to write their own paths and is one of the first people to fully support Raven's decision to not sign the Storybook of Legends. I was reading her diary and thought this part in particular was so cute, which I have to share with you guys. So after Maddie learns from Giles that Raven's free to follow her own path, she gets so happy and excited to tell her. She says it's everything Raven's always wanted. She doesn't have to be the evil queen. Nobody had to follow their parents' stories. Not even me. Wait a spell, not even me? I love that I get to be the next Mad Hatter. The tea parties, the riddle games, the fun with talking bunnies. Oh well, I'll worry about that later. Raven finally has hope, and right now she needs a happily ever after. Like, oh my gosh, is that not the sweetest thing ever? Although Maddie loves the thought of following her destiny, she still prioritizes Raven's happiness since she knows it's all she's ever wanted. Get yourself a friend like Maddie, she's the best. Genuinely, that made me so happy to see and made me love her so much more. She's such a great friend, and it makes me happy to know that Raven has someone who'll support her no matter what. Maddie's actually a Wonderlandian, which, as you can probably assume, is someone from Wonderland. There's a few other Wonderlandians attending Ever After High too, and honestly, they're some of my favorite characters. I have a question though. So I obviously know that Maddie can hear the narrators, and I'm pretty sure Kitty Cheshire can too. So can all Wonderlandians hear them? Cause if so, I think that's so smart. Having all of them be able to hear the narrators and therefore be seen as mad by others since they can't hear them is so interesting. I really hope that's canon, and if not, it is in my mind. Something new I learned about Maddie in specific though is that she has the power to do the impossible if she doesn't know it's impossible. It's so random, but I love it. It fits her perfectly. But now onto her design. I wanted to do a lot with Maddie. I was inspired by decor, fashion, and a lot of bright colors in general. I found very maximalist outfits and then saw this super cute teacup hat which I thought was absolutely perfect for her. And as a small touch, I gave her bug teeth to resemble her dad more. I just thought she looked adorable with them. I'm super happy with how she turned out, and I especially had a lot of fun learning more about her. But now that we talked about Raven's best friend, it's time we talk about Apples. Briar Beauty, daughter of Sleeping Beauty. Briar is a very outgoing and social girl. She's living her life to the fullest and wants to enjoy herself as much as she can before she's destined to follow her destiny and fall asleep for 100 years. Because of that, she's always on the lookout for or ready to throw an amazing party. Although she's very high-spirited, there are moments when she'll unexpectedly fall asleep regardless of her surroundings, foreshadowing her destiny. Briar is my personal favorite Ever After High character. I love her design and think the arc she goes through throughout the show is so interesting. Briar starts off as a royal, ready to follow her destiny, but throughout the story realizes that maybe she doesn't want to follow in her mother's footsteps. Falling asleep for 100 years means that she won't get to see her friends anymore and she'll have to adjust to a whole new life, which for a kids show is pretty deep, and so I really respect the series for diving into this. It's a heavier topic, but it makes so much sense for the daughter of Sleeping Beauty to go through. I mean, she's just expected to be okay with having to outlive all of her friends, which of course most people in her situation would not want to deal with. I think that's another reason why she's my favorite. She doesn't just stick to one side throughout the series. She starts off being a royal, but grows to understand the rebel side, which has her reflecting if she'd really be okay following her destiny. She's just such an interesting character, plus as a kid I always loved her voice. There was just something about it that fit her cool girl vibes so well. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that she and Frankie from Monster High shared a voice actress. In fact, a lot of characters from both series share voice actors. There's Erin Fitzgerald, who's not only Raven's voice actress, but she's also C.A. Cupid, who's from both Monster and Ever After High. And on top of that, she also voices Abby, Spectra, and Rochelle. Then there's Jonquil Good, who voices Apple and Cerise Wood, and Twyla, Gigi, Wisp, and Claudia Wolf. And finally, from this video, we have Cindy Robinson, who from Ever After High voices Maddie, of course, but also Humpty Dumpty, Ramona Badwolf, and Snow White. And from Monster High voices Operetta, Holt, and Jackson Hyde. I swear all of these voice actors are so talented because I had no idea they did all these different characters. I really wish we would have gotten the crossover movie. Let's go back to Briar though, because we've gotten a bit sidetracked. As much as I love her, she was actually pretty close to not being in this video. And it's not because I didn't want to include her. It's because I could not make a design for her that I was happy with. And the thing is, while making my Milano board for her, I had so many ideas. I wanted to lean more into a comfy vibe for her and give her clothes that were inspired by pajamas, something she could easily fall asleep in but still be fashionable. I could not execute it though. I don't know what was going on, but it just felt like everything I made wasn't looking like how I wanted it to. This is actually my second attempt designing her. I just wasn't a fan of my first one, and so I tried again. This time I experimented with pants which I thought looked really cute, but felt like they looked a bit too much like pajamas, and compared to the others, she looked more plain. So I went back to the drawing board and went for a skirt with tights similar to her original ones. I'm pretty happy with the finished look, but a part of me still feels like she's missing something. I don't know, am I just overthinking it, or is it because I'm already a big fan of her OG design? Either way, I think she looks cute, and at least I really gave myself a challenge with her. So those were my attempts at redesigning some Ever After High characters. I had so much fun with these and I'm really happy with them. If you guys enjoyed this video, then I would definitely recommend you give Alpine Squibs a watch since he was also a huge inspiration for this. His designs and reimagining of the story are so good, definitely give it a watch. I also want to quickly announce that I've started my senior year of university. I'm both very excited and nervous, but because of that, uploads may be slower than usual, and I may be less active. I'll still try my best to stay as active as I can, but if I disappear for a bit, then you know why. Thank you to Milano for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, stay safe, and as always, I hope you have a great day.